one of my, I think, strengths is I take messy action and I just do the darn thing. And so it's kind of been like a learning process in that too, is I just did it. And then I've always worked backwards from that and figured it out along the way.
Today on the We Share podcast, we're joined by Tiffanie Orr. She owns Sweet Cheeks Waxing and Skincare. It's a nationwide aesthetics and education business, home-based in Salmon, Idaho. Welcome to the We Share podcast. I'm Julie.
I'm Alex.
We share ourselves and we provide a platform for others to share.
We believe everyone has a purpose and a story to tell.
And we're back on the We Share podcast. I'm Julie.
And I'm Alex.
And today I am so excited to talk to Tiffanie Orr with Sweet Cheeks Waxing and Skincare from Salmon, Idaho. Here's why I'm excited. It's a girl who's turned into a girl boss. I knew her before she was a girl boss, and to see the business glow up that has happened is pretty phenomenal. So good morning, Tiffanie.
Yes, welcome, Tiffanie.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for having me. And I feel really honored to be here. And I'm so grateful.
And plus, we like cheeks, all kinds.
Yeah.
Big,
Top to
small,
bottom.
top and bottom.
Squeezable.
Juicy. I mean, how can we not say juicy?
Here for it all the cheeks.
I knew Tiffanie when she was getting educated in her aesthetic services, and then you went on and you kind of had this idea of what you were going to do. It's taken a few years, so I'm going to ask you a twofold question here. Let's start with Salmon, Idaho, and explain to people what it's like to start a business in Salmon, Idaho, and then tell us about that business growth that you've experienced.
Salmon, Idaho, not a lot of cheeks there.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of cheeks. We are super rural. So if you've not heard of Salmon, or if you're not local to the Idaho Falls area, we're a couple hours north of Idaho Falls, eastern Idaho. And when I say rural, I mean like rural. We are small town Idaho. We're couple hours from all civilization, and we're about 3,000 people. And so when I went to aesthetic school late 2011, and then got licensed early 2012, I knew I had a plan when I was, going to get my aesthetics license. I knew I was going to go back and build this business from the ground up in Salmon, small town Salmon. And I kind of had an edge back then because there wasn't anybody in the area doing aesthetics. There wasn't an actual esthetician. There wasn't anybody doing facials. There definitely wasn't anybody doing any intimate waxing. And so I knew that I kind of had a corner on the market. And it definitely, though, took a couple years to get everybody on board, because what we offer at Sweet Cheeks Waxing and Skincare is we definitely focus on the health of the skin and creating this amazing experience for the women in our community. And then I have such a passion, and I have from the beginning, for Brazilian waxing. And
I don't.
You don't?
It hurts.
It does hurt.
I'm going to say this though. A good waxer makes all
I'm
difference.
confident of that, but just I had one bad experience.
One bad experience can throw you off, and it can make you never want to come back. And I've seen it with other people who have been to other places and establishments and then come to us, or we have this conversation and they're like, just like you, Alex. And they're like, no, it's just not for me. It hurts freaking terrible. And yes, we're not going to sugarcoat it. It's not a painless experience. And it is such an empowering experience when it's done right, when you have a confident esthetician who knows what she's doing and has the skills and is using really great product and can create this really great experience for her client because it's a vulnerable experience in itself, and it's very painful. And so over the years, that passion has definitely morphed into the education side of things of what I do now, and has kind of has brought this fire, I guess, within my soul for this passion of, I just want to help all these estheticians out there and beauty professionals feel confident in their wax skills and feel confident in all of their skills in aesthetics. And so then the birth of Sweet Cheeks University kind of morphed a couple years ago. And so now I offer continuing education for beauty professionals. And there's still that passion for Brazilian waxing. That's really where it comes from.
I love, that's the core of it. And then you've expanded out, because just like your beauty regimen and my beauty regimen, it's not just waxing. There's so many more things that are involved in that. And your esthetician can be a core value in
Yeah,
that. Like
I
you
do
need
know
that.
that I have done waxing and I like the after effect. I get a little nervous.
Maybe
and
we need
I
to drive
am-
to Salmon.
And I am shy. Well, I went above and beyond and just decided to get lasered. So
you know
now-
what? Yeah. So now you don't have to worry
I
about
don't
it.
have to worry about it. But
And for
Yeah.
somebody maybe like you, I would encourage to try sugaring because
sugaring.
yes. So we also offer sugaring.
Mm-hmm.
I got certified in intimate sugaring. So it's a same idea. It's still hair removal. It's a different approach and it's a little bit nicer on the skin and it's a slower process. And so
It's a longer appointment.
it is a longer appointment. Yes. It's so if you're somebody who just wants to get in and get out, definitely recommend traditional waxing for a Brazilian. But I don't think it hurts as bad to get sugared because it's just a little bit, it's a different technique. It's a different approach.
Well, I like the name. I don't eat a lot of sugar, but you can rub it all over me.
It sure sounds right when you're talking about intimate waxing.
Yeah. This is going to be, I mean, we went from Wellness Month to maybe Love Month now with this.
Right. And Valentine's Day is
Lots
coming.
of sugar. And
Yeah. So let's talk about growing the business in Salmon.
Yeah.
And then how that morphed to the university. So what steps did you take? Because growing an aesthetics business, there's similarities in growing other businesses. It doesn't just have to be
True.
aesthetic services. So how did you start in a small town, gain clients, build that reputation, and then move into the university?
You know, I think if I had to look back, it really came from getting really good in my services. And it took some time. As you know, estheticians, the schooling's just so fast. There's just not enough time when you're, especially in Idaho, only 600 hours to get licensed. So pouring myself into the continuing education and just practicing and getting really good. And then word of mouth is like huge. And I think with any business, that's where how you're going to grow and how you're going to reach wider is through your word of mouth. So you're making sure that you're providing an excellent service, you know what you're doing in the treatment room, and then you're really pouring yourself into your clients. And I really created relationships with my clients. And that's really, I think, what carried me and has carried me and has helped me grow. And so those first probably 5 or 6 years, I was just a solo esthetician, just really focusing on growing the business, getting my books full. In the midst of that, I had my kids. You know, when I started this business, I always refer to Sweet Cheeks as my first baby. And then the next year I had my actual first baby. And so in the midst of that, I really had to learn how to become a mom and a business owner and all the back end stuff of taxes and paying yourself and all of the stuff that comes with it that you don't really think about in the beginning because you're like, this is great. I'm
know,
going to
it's
play
not the
beauty
fun
shop.
part. You're
right.
like, oh.
And I get to do something I love every day, but wait, I have to pay taxes? Okay.
So overrated.
It's so overrated. So one of my, I think, strengths is I take messy action and I just do the darn thing. And so it's kind of been like a learning process in that too, is I just did it. And then I've always worked backwards from that and figured it out along the way. So those first 5 or 6 years, solo esthetician, and then I got really, really busy and the business like boomed. And then my books were freaking full. I was working really long hours. And I know myself well enough to know I was reaching the point of burnout, and I still really loved what I was doing, and I didn't want to get to burnout. And so I was turning away clients. I was like, doors are shut. I can only serve who I have on my books. And so then I kind of got desperate. And so I was like, who can I bring on to the team? And luckily, I really lucked out. I reached out to 2 estheticians who didn't even live in the area, and I offered them a job. I said, if you want work, I have it for you. Come work for me. And I don't know what this is going to look like, but I had the clients. And I don't know, it was meant to be. The stars aligned, and one of them moved from Boise back to Salmon, and then the other one lived in Twin, and so she travels back and forth. They're both still with me, and they're both so amazing. And so we've grown together, and I learned how to be a leader in that process. And again, it was like working backwards from just taking that messy action, and then we just really continued to grow really fast. And then COVID hit, and it really gave us time to like pause and put some systems in place, because as you guys know, a business can grow and grow and grow only so far until you actually have systems in place. And then you're like, this isn't working, or things are kind of getting out of reach. And so COVID in itself was such a weird time, right?
Yeah.
It really gave us time to like pause, because we were in the treatment room, and focus on, okay, we need some policies. We need some systems with my team and with our clients too, because things were just kind of getting willy-nilly. And then I also, in the midst of that, launched my online store and started selling product online. And so that in itself was kind of, nobody was really doing that in the industry at the time. So it really gave me a chance to boom the retail side of things that I hadn't been able to focus on because I didn't have time. We were like in the treatment room. And so then the business grew again. It's like you reach one level and then you hit that level and then you're like on to the next and you like level up again. And so, yeah. And then the rest is kind of history. We've just like continued to grow. We've added more beauty professionals to the team. So we have 4 estheticians, and we have a hollow needle piercer, and we have 2 makeup artists. And I just hired another esthetician last week, and she's specializes in lash extensions. And we get to ship skincare around the United States. And we're like known in this little this little piece of Idaho that nobody really, the gem of the gem state. I always say we're in the heart of Salmon, Idaho. And they're like, either people have heard of Salmon or they haven't at all. They're like, Salmon. So it's actually really cool that we have this really thriving, successful brand and company that people travel to and come see us for our services. And we get to ship skincare across the United States. And we've built this community, this Sweet Cheeks community, like on our online presence, through social media, through our VIP group on Facebook, and kind of have made a name for ourselves from just like just humble and small beginnings. And so I'm so grateful every day. I still love what I do. And I've gotten to work myself out of the treatment room a little bit and then be able to focus on the education side of things and this sister company that I've started, Sweet Cheeks University, that has then now morphed into other beautiful partnerships. I've partnered up with, her name is Jessica. She's actually my Eminence Organic skincare rep. We do the Beyond Aesthetics podcast. So we release an episode once a week, and our goal and our mission is to help raise the vibration of the aesthetics industry. So we also have Beyond Aesthetics coaching. We host a mastermind group of beauty professionals twice a year. And then we also do one-on-one coaching. And so
that's awesome.
We're like so excited to be able to kind of change the way the beauty industry has been. And we deeply believe in like community over competition, and that there's enough to go around for everybody. Right?
Preach,
yes.
Girl. Preach.
There is, and I see people that need help every day.
Send them our way.
Help them.
I can't tell how many girls I have said that to. Women who want to work in the beauty industry. And I said, stop tearing each other down.
Yeah.
There are enough clients for everybody. Pay attention to what you're doing and get good at it. You will succeed. I promise.
Oh, yeah. And she will too, or he or she will too. And it's kind of like it's twofold. You have to put some blinders on. You can't pay attention to who's down the street and be able to excel at your own craft and your own business if your eyes are focused on who else is down the street or next door. And I think realizing like coming from an abundant mindset and instead of like a scarcity mindset really just changes the whole vibe of things. And so that's really like the basis, the foundation of what we educate and what we're our message that we're trying to put out there is, and this is another reason, like in our very small town, again, Salmon's like 3,000 people, and that's men and women. So if you think about it, okay, we'll call it 1,500 women. That's not very many women. We have so many hairstylists in Salmon, probably almost 30, and they are all so full. And it's been that way for years. We don't have a lot of estheticians. We have tons of hairstylists. They're so full and so busy. And I'm like, if they can live in a very small town and have full books and have this very thriving business, then you can live in a very big town with lots of other people and have a really, really successful business.
You can. I want to circle back to what you said earlier is, you guys go to school for like a year and then you're just thrown to the wolves, and there's so much to learn. So clearly, I think it takes a special type of person to push as much as you have. So I want to like give you praise for that.
Thank you.
But also that you are then sharing the wealth. It's not competition. You're not intimidated by, like you've taken it to the next level. And that's so helpful for people that go through school. I know like my son's fiance, she did nail school and was too scared to even take a job and do that. So she's just working at an office. And so it is intimidating for people because it is hard to start a business, any business.
It takes so much courage.
Yeah. And so for you to do that, I just want to applaud you and
thank you.
That's awesome.
Well, and like you said, there's going to be lumps.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're going to take lumps. And you admitted that when you started, you said you made some mistakes, but you just kept pushing forward. That's everyone. So when you will approach that mindset of, yep, I made a mistake today, but I'll learn from it and get better.
Yeah.
That's how you grow.
It actually really is. And like if it was smooth sailing all the time, you would stay in the same spot. Like, of course, like look at the analogy of like a sailboat. If there was no wind, you wouldn't freaking move. So of course there has to be lumps in the road and setbacks. And I think business in itself is like one step forward, 2 steps back all the time. And you reach this next level that, you climb your Mount Everest in the business that you're with your goal. And then you're like, realize there's a bigger mountain behind it. And once you like kind of just realize that it's part of the journey, it's part of the process. And to get to like your big dream goal, then you want there to continue to be mountains, right? You don't want it to like reach the end and be like, now what?
Yeah,
so
just really like, I've made it. I'm 30.
Right.
I also love that you trusted your gut, that you were brave enough to reach out to those 2 estheticians. That was the beginning of expanding your business.
Yeah.
And you went, well, my gut's telling me to do this. I'm going to do it. And like,
and
believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. And
what
really,
about franchising?
You know what?
Sweet Cheeks Sun Valley. I can feel it. I think there's lots of cheeks there. You can even charge more.
There's wealthy cheeks there.
We like wealthy cheeks.
Yes.
Do you know what? It's on the big vision list for sure. And I really see it happening. It's kind of like there's just like
it's
next
cookie
steps.
cutter. Like you learn some things, so then it's okay, if you want to have a Sweet Cheeks, this is the package. This you get all the stuff.
Yeah.
I just can see it happen.
Business in a box,
isn't it? Well, and I think it's so important for any business to really be on the same page with your team. And that's something in 2024. My word of the year last year was actually trust and like leaning into the intuition side of things. And sharing your vision with your team and asking them what their vision is so that you guys kind of can create this roadmap to get to where you're going and be on the same page. And I think it's just like opening up that conversation. So last year and continuing on, we're really like working together and just like having that conversation. Like, what is your vision? Like asking my lead esthetician and then like surprisingly hearing some things that I kind of assumed, but she had other things on her really big vision. And then as vulnerable as it seems, like telling your team what your big dreams are, what your big vision, so that they can kind of understand, yes, you're leading the ship, but they know where we're going.
Right.
And then we can work harmoniously together.
That's, invaluable synergy.
Yeah.
It's like very important.
This is so awesome. Okay. So if, potential franchising, growing in the university, if someone's listening to this and they either want maybe possibly business coaching from you or they want to attend the university, how do they get a hold of you?
You can always find me on social media at Sweet Cheeks University, or if you want to see the business side of things and how I run my own personal business, it's at Sweet Cheeks Waxing Skincare, all one word, or just slide into my DMs. That's like the easiest way to get a hold of me. You can always visit my website too. It's just sweetcheeksuniversity.com. We're always taking on new coaching clients. We will always do a complimentary consultation and just kind of see where you're at, see where your goals are.
Are there prerequisites to attending Sweet Cheeks University?
There's not. I do have an online course. I do offer an online Brazilian wax masterclass. So one thing that's kind of back to the Brazilian thing, not to keep coming back here, but this is where the passion is. Brazilians aren't taught really well in school, even to this day. I went to aesthetic school almost 13 years ago, and it was a crash course at the time. And again, I knew in my vision that I wanted to offer that. I knew it was going to be this powerful service to bring back to Salmon. And students are still coming out of school and they're like, yeah, we just watched a Brazilian and I don't know how to do it. And my eyes like get saucer sized because I'm like, you are kidding me, still like, over a decade later, this isn't being taught. And I think there's a lot of stigma around it, right? Back to it's a very vulnerable service. Not everybody's comfortable
There
with
definitely
that.
is a stigma with our culture and religion because, like,
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know that girls were different.
Well, yeah. And to be
Until,
fair,
like, I don't even want to say how
I
long
was
ago.
just going to say that because I think that girls don't even pay attention. They're shown one client in aesthetic school, and then they get out there and they're asked to do a Brazilian in their spa or wherever they're working.
Mm-hmm.
And what shows up for them looks completely different than the model that they learned on. And they don't even know that looks different depending upon the woman.
Yeah. And they probably, if I had to imagine going to fight, flight, or freeze, their trauma response.
Like, what do I do with that?
What do I do? And I don't have my instructor here to go get to help me through this. It's like a very, it breaks my heart because back to Brazilian waxing or sugaring or intimate, hair removal in itself is such an empowering service to offer for women. And again, when it's done right and it's done in a safe space and it feels judgment free, and especially if you have an older client and you're a younger woman. And so creating that space for women in general to come and get a Brazilian is so powerful, and it's such easy money. You can do an amazing Brazilian wax in 15 minutes, and you can charge really good money for it. And likely they're going to buy aftercare products or skincare off your shelf, or they're going to say, hey, can you do facials? I would love to come see you for a facial because I just had a great wax. I can't even imagine how great a facial would be with you. And they're going to tell their sisters or their mom or their friends about this amazing experience that you've created for them. And above all, they're going to go home and feel so empowered because they did something hard. It's hard to get, your hair
they
ripped out.
overcame a fear.
Yeah, a fear, seriously. And it's just going to add to their sense of self-care and self-love and their own empowerment. And that in itself is so powerful. So that's really where that passion lies. So of helping estheticians understand that, for one, understand female anatomy, understand different hair types and different wax types, and the steps of going through a Brazilian, and it doesn't have to be awkward, and all the things. So this Brazilian Wax Masterclass online course it's all virtually done, and it still feels like you're learning with me in the treatment room, because I know Salmon is rural, and Idaho in itself is hard to get across, especially like in the winter. We've got snowy roads. So being able to have this really great resource that you can do virtually and it still feel like you've been taught one-on-one in real time is just so powerful.
Okay.
I kind of forgot where we were going.
Business side questions. Do you have to be accredited to do that?
Thank you for bringing that back. Yes. So as long as you're a student and an enrolled beauty professional program like cosmetology or aesthetics, you can take the course, or you have to prove your licensure. So we don't just sell it to anybody, because it does show an actual wax. We have 3 different models in the class, and it shows everything, and we want to make sure, and it doesn't show her face or her identity or anything like that, but we definitely want to make sure that it's getting into the right hands.
Right. Okay, perfect.
Let's explain a layer here that there's probably people out there going, I don't understand. So she referenced both estheticians and cosmetologists. In the state of Idaho, everything that an esthetician does is covered under the cosmetology license.
Correct.
So that's why she can teach cosmetologists, because those 2 licenses, the master license in the state of Idaho is cosmetology and aesthetics is underneath that. It's a little weird though, because the breadth of what you can do in aesthetics is so much broader than cosmetology. So that's just a weird concept to think of, but it's actually called the master license in Idaho is the cosmetology license. That's not the same everywhere.
No.
So it is very, very important if you're listening to this and you want to be part of this and you're maybe in school or whatever, do your due diligence and your research and learn how it's covered in the state that you currently live in and where you're being schooled or have been schooled, or possibly a state you're going to move to. Because there are girls that come to East Idaho to be educated, but then they go back to Jackson Hole.
Right.
And that's not Idaho.
Well, and there's some people that just practice without being licensed.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
which is even scarier.
Scary.
Yes.
So there's so many layers here. And I love that you're professional and you're addressing that. You're making sure that those bases are covered.
Oh, yeah. It's so important. And if for anybody who is either already licensed cosmetology or aesthetics or, a nail tech or anything, or you're looking to go to school and get licensed, get to know your board in the state that you're in, and they're not scary. Call them, email them. That is their job. That's what they're there for. And just ask. It's a great resource that I think has gotten a stigma around it, that the board is so scary because the board could come fine you or shut you down. Really, they're actually so nice.
Well, they want you to be successful. That's how, because the board is paid for by the dues that you pay for your license.
The industry.
They want successful people out there working.
Yes. And they want to make sure you're doing it the right way so that you don't get fined or you don't get yourself in trouble. And so they're definitely going to be a wealth of knowledge. So if you have questions, you can always reach out to somebody like me, and I'm happy to help point you in the right direction or reach out to the board.
Okay, I have a fun question for you.
Yeah.
So, we'll just slip a little sweet cheeks tip of the day, like something from your experience that you, like a nugget, a good share that you would like to share with everyone that you've learned, like a tip. Just share one of Tiffany's tips for sweet cheeks.
As an esthetician or as an educator?
It could be a mom. It could be whatever you want.
Okay, either one.
Well, I want, we'll do the other nugget later, like Tiffanyism, for life and everything. But I'm thinking university, so that you can give people just a glimpse of the kind of things you're going to provide.
Okay.
Because you've done the work, you've done the research, and you might have discovered along the way. So you didn't learn it in school, but you've got this Tiffany tip, a technique you do, something special to you, but you're willing to share it.
Okay.
Because it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're amazing. Are you following me?
Okay, I have one. It's come to me.
Okay.
So we're going to go back to Brazilian waxing again.
Okay.
If you're a waxer and you have a hard time getting through the process, one really easy tip that's going to change the whole game is enlist your clients in helping hold their skin taut. And it's not awkward, and you can offer your client a set of gloves if she's worried about getting her hands sticky, because sometimes clients will be like, and they'll stick their hand in the wax. Not a big deal. So just guide their hand, because the tighter the skin is when you wax any area of the body, the less it's going to pull and the less it's going to hurt, and the less chance you're going to damage the skin, like lift the skin or bruise the skin. So we want that skin to be nice and tight. And as a professional, you only have two hands, right? So when you
last time I checked, right and left. Yeah.
Sometimes we need 3 or 4.
Yeah.
We only have 2. Definitely enlist both of their hands and guide them. And you kind of just put your hand on top of their hand and say, okay, we're going to have you hold here. And you show them how tight they need to hold. And it gives them something to do with their hands and kind of helps take their nerves away, because now they have a job to do. And now they're helping. And when you explain it very clearly, the tighter the skin is, the less it pulls. And so they're like, yeah, we're going to hold this nice and tight, and it's going to make your job so much easier, especially when we're getting into the intricate parts of the female anatomy. We'll just let your mind, play around with that. We need that skin to be nice and tight, and we need, to be able to get in there to do our job well. So little tip of the day.
Right. So, and a better end result.
Yeah.
I'll endorse this because I do my own Brazilians now.
Yes.
But in a professional setting, the best Brazilian I ever had was a tech or an esthetician who had me hold. They wrapped a tongue depressor with some wax strips, and they had me use it to help them so fast. It made it faster.
Yes.
The appointment went faster, and it was the best Brazilian I've ever had.
I think had I had the confidence to hold myself, I wouldn't have the disappointment with going home and having to shave. To touch up a little places, you leave with a little bit.
It's a bummer you got laser, so we can't recreate this experience for you in a better way. Because
I'll take testosterone.
No, we don't
I'll
want
regrow
that
hair. Bring the beaver back. Oh my gosh.
This episode might need a trigger warning.
No, it's funny because it's Love Month, but I have to share this little segue. We all know I'm sick. You can hear it. At Walmart, getting my prescriptions, have to wait a little bit of time. So I walk down by, all the Valentine stuff. It's just like vomited Valentines on a couple aisles. And on this end cap, there is a bunch of like this big, like, you'll have to watch video to see this, but I don't know, like the size of a large pillow, a king size pillow, beavers, just stacked like stuffed animals. And like, I'm like, really? Because that the kids are going to be like, oh, Mom, I want one of those.
Yeah. And then as the adult, you're like,
a beaver for Valentine's.
Maybe, Tiffanie, you need a mascot.
I might have to stop into Walmart before I head back to Salmon.
So they're on the end cap. Yeah.
If
there's any left.
Right.
But I almost bought one. I'm like, this would be really funny gift for my girlfriends.
It would be
but
so
I just
funny.
didn't know how I could walk out of there, feel like with the red nose, a cart full of beavers.
Well, I'll add on to that, which is really funny.
Yeah.
On our marketing, and we'll talk about branding in a minute if you want to. I think your branding for your business is so important. And so our branding is kind of edgy because we're speaking to women and we know exactly who we're speaking to. And, we do things like Brazilian waxing. And I posted just a couple of days ago, PSA, a friendly beaver gets more wood. And
I have the T-shirt.
Yes, I know, right?
The T-shirt.
See, you already know. And it just was so funny, and it's gotten so many shares from other estheticians. And so it's just like when you know who you're speaking to and you're being true to you and your branding, because as the owner or the leader or the boss of your business, you are the brand. And it's really important to make sure that you're being authentic to you. And again, you're not trying to copy or emulate who you think is successful in the industry. And because it's going to come through as inauthentic, of course. And you know exactly who your ideal clients are and you're speaking directly to them.
I love it.
I love that about the branding because I always think it's weird when people walk into like, okay, we're going to stay in the beauty realm.
Okay.
Like there's some really edgy barbershops. Massive like rock music playing. They might have a pet dog in the corner that is like a bulldog and it comes and greets all of the clients. And you're speaking to a group of people there. It can be rapid fire success.
Yeah.
But know who you are.
Yeah.
And know where you're going.
Right.
Like,
you'll attract your
that's
people.
who they're going to attract there. You're going to attract women that are like, yeah, I want to clean that up. Yeah. I'm good with landscaping. My physical body. And if a woman is good with that and that's what she desires, she's actually going to think that branding is funny.
That's so true because honestly, once you do it, you're like, oh, I like this clean beaver.
If you don't have to go home and shave after.
So my T-shirt was actually not a friendly beaver.
Oh.
Well, I am a friendly beaver, but no. It was a clean beaver. Gets more wood. Just had to clarify.
Nice.
If you see me wearing it around town.
Yes. Yeah, both work. Both. And let's expand it past the intimate because if you're quick and good at a Brazilian wax, legs and a back and those are I have a daughter who's an esthetician.
Yes.
She's a master esthetician. She got to where she had this like core group of weightlifters, men that would come to her. Perfect. She could do a back wax in about 7 minutes.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
And it's what they want. They want to get in and out. They don't want to hang out there all day or for, an hour when backs and chests for men are very painful. Men are so tough, but they're not tough at all.
I love the 40-year-old virgin.
Right? Exactly.
Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah. So they don't want to hang out and they don't want it. We don't want to drag a painful service out any longer than it needs to be. And it still has to be efficient. We don't want to leave hair behind. And we want to make sure that the skin is still staying healthy throughout that process. So, yeah.
And she built that business. She doesn't live in the area anymore because her husband's in med school.
Yes.
But she built that business off of word of mouth, much like you talked about. Well, the guy went to the gym and said, I got the best back wax from this 20-year-old girl. Like, I mean,
you've done the same thing with your lash business.
Yeah, I do advertise my lash business, and I've never not been full.
Right? It matters. And
Yep.
Very cool.
This is so fun. This is a fun episode. I needed this on a Friday.
I needed to laugh, right? Okay, now we'll go to the
serious.
Now to the serious.
We're going to play some solemn music.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun.
Give us a bit of life advice. It can be as a mom, as a business owner. It could be as those two combined. It can be, what it's been like to do this business. It can be a moral bit of advice that you have. Anything, whatever you feel.
I think one thing that I can share is I see a lot of people, and this was me for a lot of years, of trying to achieve balance in their life and between their business, especially if you're a business owner and you're like, I just need to balance out. I just need to feel more balanced, or I feel like I'm out of balance. And I last year realized that balance is unachievable, and it's just a ridiculous
There's no such thing as work-life balance.
There's not. And there's no such thing as just balance in general. When you're, say, creating something or building something, of course, you're going to be pouring more time and energy into that. And of course, the other areas of your life are going to get a little bit less of you, and that's okay. And say when you're in mom mode and you're like having a baby, of course, you're going to be pouring into that side of things. So maybe your business is going to get less of you, and that's okay too. So I think it's really important to have some systems in place and to realize that balance is just like this unachievable thing. And when you realize that, like, harmony is like such a better outlook. Like, I just need some harmony, and realize like things are going to ebb and flow. And it kind of just like releases the pressure on trying to make everything work great all the time, because it's not going to. That's life, and that's the journey. And so I think the last couple of years I've really let go a lot of that, and have really just tried to be present in where I'm at the time. So when I'm at work, I'm like in that mode, and it's been easier now that my kids are all in school. I understand that. It really wasn't easy when my kids were still at home and I was trying to wear all the hats in that aspect. So if you are listening to this and you're a mom with really young kids and you're trying to grow your business, just know that like it does get easier, and stay in it, and things will kind of even out a little bit.
Right. Give yourself some grace.
Lots of grace. And like I've gotten to a place too where I can leave work at work and be more present with my kids and my husband when I am at home. I haven't always been great about that. So just things like that. It's just, and I think it comes with age too. Now that I'm a little bit older, and, I've realized like not everything is an emergency. Like I've realized, and, the business will still be there if I take a vacation, or if I'm sick, or it's not going to go anywhere. And when there are setbacks, say in your business, they really are just like stepping stones and building blocks. Even if it feels like this huge failure, it's there for a reason. And so I think I've just come at the attitude of like, how is this serving me? What am I learning from this? This really sucks while I'm in it, and it's still going to be okay.
Right. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I like that replacement of balance with harmony, because if you
I
think
do
about
too.
it, if you think about it like a teeter-totter, when is the teeter-totter ever straight?
Never.
It's not. And so it just will go down, then back up a little bit. And what you're hoping for is not that slam.
It is always, it's straight, but it's not rarely
It's
even.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like
rarely even. And so you work towards not having that slam down at the bottom, and just keeping it kind of rolling back and forth and back and forth.
Just kind of float.
So last year's word was trust. What's this year's word?
I'm going to tell you guys do words of the year.
We do words of the year. So I'm like, hey,
so you understand.
Share.
Have you ever had a word that's like so annoying, but it's your word?
Well, yeah. So you said balance. Mine was balance 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And it was pressure.
Yeah.
And that's how I took a year, and I got to where there's no such thing. And I'm in yoga and I practice that. And so there might be a balance pose. I do, but I'm always going to be, gravity is always going to be pulling me in some different direction. There's always going to be a struggle. So harmony, I love it because it does weave so much more into it, and give yourself some breathing room to realize, this area of my life might be a little balanced, but this one's going to be out of balance because I'm focusing over here. And just like you
takes
said,
the pressure off.
Yeah. So that was not my favorite word that I did. But
So you must have a not favorite word this year.
Well, I mean, I'm letting it serve me. It's consistency. And
that's similar. You got to show up.
You got to show up. And it's just in all areas of my life. It's not just business. It's, the physical aspect and the spiritual aspect and the personal aspect and then the professional one, of course, too. So, it's here and I'm a little annoyed with it. And I know that it will serve me well.
Yeah,
so I'm leaning into
it's always
it.
good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be like a little irritation that gets you to a place.
Yeah, and it's helped me, get up every morning and do my workout since the beginning of the year because I'm like, okay, we're going to be consistent.
Congratulations on doing that. It's hard.
It is hard. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're almost to where it becomes a habit. So if you've been doing it,
yes,
it will end up getting easier. Habit stacking is real.
It is real. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Throw out all the social media handles again, just one more time.
You can find me at Sweet Cheeks University. That's like the education side if you're a beauty professional. At Sweet Cheeks Waxing Skincare. That's our business side. And then just visit me at sweetcheeksuniversity.com if you want to access that Brazilian Wax Masterclass online course. If you have questions about anything, slide into my DMs. I'll answer it. I just love it. I love connecting. I love collaborating. I love just like the community behind this industry. So reach out.
Okay. And if you're ever in the Idaho area or coming
Salmon's
here,
a beautiful place.
book ahead, book in advance.
Gorgeous.
Clearly she's busy, but it might be worth the drive for you to go to Salmon, do a little fishing. Wax.
I'll clear my schedule.
Wax or beaver.
Bring your husband or your boyfriend or whoever, they can go fishing and then drop you off at Sweet Cheeks. And if there was anybody who wanted to travel and come see me, I would clear my schedule. Like I said, I actually am only in the treatment room for waxing and sugaring now. I don't do any of the facials or skincare anymore. I let my team, who's amazing, do that. But I would see anybody who wanted to come see me.
Oh, I love it.
I'd be so honored.
I'm so proud of the business glow up. You've done amazing.
100%.
Thank you. It means so much. Thank you for having me, both
Yes,
of you.
thank you. Thanks for joining us today on the We Share podcast.
If you've loved what you've heard, please give us a 5-star rating. Tell your friends and share this show.
You can also follow us for recipes, lifestyle and fashion tips, book reviews, and more on WeSharePodcast.com.
Join our Share Squad and sign up for our newsletter there.
We would love to connect with you.
We share on TikTok, Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram. Give us a follow.
A big goodbye squeeze and sending you all our love from Alex and Julie.
Join us next week on the We Share podcast.